Hello, boys and girls, and welcome back to another wonderful Wednesday. Adam and Doug at it again for another episode of The Great Outdoors with Doug. I'm Adam. He's Doug. How are you?
I am doing good. Persevering.
Woo!
Yeah.
That time of year.
That's right. Grind through it.
Grinding.
Yep.
Absolutely, my friend. Yeah, you know, it's been a cold winter, and we got lulled into a false sense of security. Last winter was like just the fall, and then it was like the spring, and it was like, oh, there was like 3 days where it was like wintry, and this year it's like, oh no.
This is legit.
Yeah.
This is real. And then you start, you see like the 11-day forecast, and you go,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
Maybe we'll make it. No.
Yeah.
Can we see the 21-day forecast, the 22-day forecast?
Or even the 21-degree sign?
Yeah, something plus. Give us a plus. But
yeah.
that's the reality. And like you said, some of us thinking that, well, we got to February, and now February is really kind of a little bit punchy for February.
Oh, big time. It's like Mike Tyson. Big.
You think so?
I mean, maybe. I feel like we've had some Ali winters, but that's like more about like longevity and stuff, but like it's big punches. I don't know. Are you a Rocky fan?
Well, yeah.
This is the Clubber Lang.
No, it
winter,
is.
You know?
Okay, but we still don't have that much snow out there. I mean, if we had 3 feet of snow on the ground, then I'd be
okay. That's fair.
So
I don't mind the snow. I do. I mean, it does. It can be an inconvenience. I like the snow because that's like a lot of the fun parts of winter, whether it's skiing, snowmobiling, stuff like that. You can take advantage of the snow. You can build a snowman. You can do a snowball fight.
Yeah.
So many
No,
things.
and I will agree.
But like when it's just so cold, it's like, okay, well, it's really cold, and I also am not having any fun.
Right. I mean, I agree. I like the beautiful white out there much better than the gray and the brown. So it looks beautiful, and at night everything just kind of glows. So there's some beauty in it.
Yeah.
And then you get outside and you go, wow, yeah, I don't want to sit outside too terribly long. I want to get warm, but
yeah. But, we're all animals.
Yeah.
We're all animals. We're mammals specifically. I think a mammal and an animal may be different. I don't know. A long time since, whatever, grade school when they teach it like that. But here's the facts, my friend. It's tough for us. It's tough for the animals out there. And let's kind of talk about how it has been affecting wildlife, in particular deer and pheasants.
And kind of sticking with a little bit of your boxing comparison, I mean, we're probably into the mid-rounds, and we've been taking some shots. Mm-hmm. When you look at the deer, when you look at the pheasants, this is not abnormal to them. And it's quite frankly, we're just whining. It's not abnormal to us. I mean, it's a cold stretch. It's a little longer, a little bit colder, but it's like it's happened before. Mm-hmm. I haven't heard of any significant records being
we
set.
live in North Dakota.
Yeah.
Cold winters are par for the course here.
So we're used to taking some shots from winter, and that's what's happening to the deer and to the pheasants. And if you look at winter, like you said, with boxing, you get to the mid rounds, you've been taking some body shots, maybe wobbling a little bit, and it's not done yet. And that's the thing. So we got the deer, we got the pheasants, and when you get to sunshiny day with a lot of snow on the ground, the deer are going to get out there, and they're going to gather up in groups, and they're going to feed. That's what they have to do, is they got to get some food to create some heat, to get some energy, and so that's why you're going to see them a little more active like that right during the mid part of the day. They're going to start to show some signs of stress. There might be some malnutrition. The younger ones might be a little more susceptible to some sicknesses and disease. You might see some mortality. And again, shouldn't be a shock to anyone. It's going to happen. Now, one of the things that we get a little bit concerned with is the longer this goes on, the shorter time we have between a couple-day warm-up, like we're going to have like maybe Friday, get it not be quite as cold, then go back colder again. When you start sandwiching that stuff together, it becomes a little bit more cumulative. And it really starts to wear them down. We've seen in past where you may not see the direct mortality like immediately, like right now, seeing a deer tip over, but the stress really wears them down, and you can see mortality on wildlife from the winter that takes place in March and April and even into May, because they're just so completely worn down.
Because their body had to fight off such a brutal winter that by the time the spring comes around, like maybe they made it through the winter, but they don't have much left.
And they use up all their fat reserves, and they're just basically depleted, and they just get to that. And you can have maybe a lot softer backside of winter, but you can still have mortality, where it's maybe like that punch in the first round wasn't going to knock them out. But that punch in round 10, 11, that might knock them out because of what they've endured from round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you kind of put that into a concept like, well, why are they dying now? We made it to April. Well, they may be dying in April and May because of what happened in February.
You know, I love that. And I actually used to cover some boxing in Chicago, and there's a fight I can think of, you know, because you're describing this. I actually think it's an appropriate metaphor because, like, winter is long.
Yeah.
And boxing matches, like, those rounds may be short for the people watching. It is an eternity when you're in the ring. I took my little sister, who's a personal trainer. I took her to for her birthday to train with my friend who's a pro boxer, and his father is a trainer, and she puked.
Yeah.
You know, and she was like, I've never puked from working out in my life, and she's in incredible shape, you know. But anyway, the boxing match I'm thinking of, the guy, he took a shot in the early rounds, and you kind of saw like, oh, he might be done. And he slowly was able to kind of like get his bearings back. And next thing you know, the other guy was so worn down by the end that the Windy City Kid finished him off.
Yeah.
And Gavino Guaman, he went back to Milwaukee with an L. But anyway, the point being here, as we kind of tie it all back in, is like sometimes that shot in the second round is why you fall in the 11th.
Right.
Sometimes, you know, the weathering of the storm takes so much out of you that at the end, winner or loser, you're not standing really.
Yeah, no, and it comes into literally, whether it's boxing or wildlife, into survival. So you're in those mid rounds, and you're ducking and you're blocking, and you're just trying to keep yourself in the game. You know, in the wildlife, you're just trying to stay alive to the end of the fight, and that's what a lot of these critters, they're legitimately, like every winter, is survival mode for these animals. And not only do they have the cold and the snow and the sickness and the malnutrition, they have predators out there that are trying to eat them. I mean, legitimately. So the I wouldn't say the deck is stacked against them, but they have a lot of different mortality factors that can come into play. And maybe the malnutrition isn't it, but they're so worn down that they become susceptible to a coyote.
Sure.
Maybe the coyote isn't it, but maybe starvation, maybe some sickness or disease is what happens. I mean, even if we get a lot of snow, you start to see the animals head to places that they can move a little bit easier and they don't have as much snow to go through. Sometimes that puts them up on roads. So
True.
They might get hit by a semi. You know, it might be not like directly from the snow and the cold, but the snow and the cold moved them out of maybe some of their more suitable habitat, moved them out onto a road, and the next thing you know, they got an 18-wheeler that's saying it's done, it's over with. So it's it's something that we just try to bring awareness to, whether you hunt or whether you're just interested in the outdoors. A lot of the things that the wildlife do right now is legitimately survival. They're going to be really, really, inactive during the coldest stretches of the day. When the sun comes out, they're going to get out there and feed. They're going to get out there and try to get some nutrition. Same thing with the pheasants. Same thing with deer. In the middle of the summer, in the middle of fall, that's not the case. But in the wintertime, that sun comes out. They're like, okay, let's get out there. Let's get some food. Let's get back into the cover before it gets really cold at night. They'll gather together to help themselves ward off predators. They'll gather together to break some of the cold and some of the wind. They can warm each other up with their own body heat. So there's a lot of different things that pheasants and deer and grouse and wildlife are doing to survive this cold snap.
Okay, very good. Anything else that is important for the viewers to know before we move into our next topic?
Well, the last thing is, when it comes to wanting to help the wildlife, sometimes our own intentions don't necessarily line up with like what's best for the critters and the animals. If you put food out there, you think, oh, this is going to help them out. Well, you might be drawing them out because they need to stay in that cover, in those trees, in those bushes. And when you just go dump some food out there, it takes them right out into the middle, and they can be susceptible to a great horned owl or a coyote or some other predators. So there's really, human nature is, hey, let's help them. Actually, the best thing that you can do is just kind of give them some space and just, kind of let them be.
Okay, very good. Now, this is a similar topic, not the same topic, but, talking about wildlife and how we're kind of coexisting, but snowmobilers. We have to kind of, it sounds like some guidance on just how to safely coexist.
And you're right, it does kind of bridge into that because when you're looking for things to do in the wintertime, you want to get outdoors, cross-country skiing, snowmobiling. It's like, it's cold, it's snowy, let's find things to do. And you pair that up with the wildlife. We would ask people to try to stay away from not just see, okay, there's deer. Please don't go look at them. Don't say, hey, let's go run up to them and see how close we can get to the deer with our snow machine. We'd ask, in this situation, stay on the trails, but also realize that if you don't have to take a trail near some of that heavy cover, if you can, keep your snow machine away from that, if you can stay out in kind of more of the open, because that can startle the deer and the pheasants that are in the trees. Staying on the path, staying on the roads is best for the wildlife. So if you really want to help them out, what you can do is keep away from them, keep your snow machine on the trail, and if you see wildlife, the best thing for the wildlife is for you just to keep on going and on your way. At times, people do intentionally chase and harass wildlife. It's illegal. If you see something like that, we'd ask you to report that, whether it's the local sheriff's department or the game warden, because it's illegal, and that just stresses the wildlife, and it's just not something that anybody needs to let happen.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like no good can come from that.
But it happens. I mean, that's, and it's sad. The unintentional, oh, there's some deer. Didn't see that herd of deer when we were coming around the corner. Hey, that happens. But there's some deer, there's some coyotes. Let's go chase them with our snow machine. That's just, it's not only illegal, it's unethical, and there's no place for that.
I remember driving through Glacier National Park, and all of a sudden the cars are at a standstill. And then I'm like, why is everybody going so slow? And then I see in our car windows, of course, rolled up. Everybody says, except for the dummies out there, big old grizzly bear, And so I'm like, and that's, okay, if you've never seen a grizzly bear up close and personal, and you're in a situation where, like, you're safely in a car and it's over there kind of doing its thing, I can understand, like, maybe driving slow past it and being like, wow, that thing is enormous. I wish the Chicago Bears had somebody of his size, strength, and speed.
They used to. I think his name was Richard Dent.
Yeah, and he was definitely more lean and speed, ahead of his time, some might say. But, it's like, I can understand that, but I have a hard time wrapping my head around it. It's a deer, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's a deer. You ever seen a deer?
Yeah.
You got to really chase it. You got to, whoa, look at that thing.
I know.
It's a deer, man.
And that's one of the things that we struggle with is, like, we get that, hey, it's cool, it's nice to see, but just carry on.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to see the wildlife, turn on the TV, go to the zoo, but as far as for especially this time of year where we live, the best thing for that wildlife is for you just to leave them alone. They're there for a reason. They're there because they have some food, or they have some shelter, or they have some protection from predators. And when they're startled by you, when they're chased by you, they're going someplace that they don't want to be. And in the end, that's bad for the wildlife. So that's just a reminder that we like to put out there. And we know there's a lot of people out there snowmobiling, and 90% of them are just out there enjoying themselves. And unfortunately, is that 10% that we're trying to speak to. The other 90%, if you see it, hey, shut them down. Hey, there's no room for that. We don't need that. We don't want that as part of our group. And if people are seeing something really egregious, then please, by all means, report it to law enforcement.
Okay, very good. Doug, anything else we want to get to today?
Deadline for spring turkey application, that's today.
So it's today.
Yep, today's the deadline. So maybe you would say we save the best for last, but the spring turkey application deadline is tonight at midnight. If you haven't applied for your turkey tag for this spring, about 410 more tags available this year than there were last year, 8,547 spring turkey tags. And the way we do it in North Dakota is we manage turkeys by unit. So you have to pick out the unit that you want to hunt in, and then you decide, hey, Am I going to put in for a tag in that unit, or am I going to put in a tag for a different unit? The bottom line is you got to get in for that lottery to get drawn. The lottery deadline is midnight tonight, and all the applications are all done online, but there's literally no tomorrow for spring turkey applications.
It all comes back to Rocky.
There
is no tomorrow. Yeah.
No.
I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Deal.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great day. Adam and Doug signing off on Valley News. Now, this has been The Great Outdoors with Doug. Stay